We are assembling the Sloth pop-up card. And I have all the pieces laid out. I've already put the panels here on the base. And now before we start piecing together the other pieces, let's prepare the base so it has time to dry. And on these pop-ups, you're going to fold this piece down to where it's even with the top of the base. Then you're going to fold it back up, and this top one folds down. So what you have here is a 1/4 inch space, and we're going to glue this into place. Just put a little bit of glue there, and let's glue it down into place. This helps the card to stay open while you hold it. I like to do this first so this has plenty of time to dry. If you forget to glue these little spaces down, your card won't operate properly. Okay, so you want to start with that. Make sure you don't forget this step. Okay, so now we're just going to set this aside and let it dry. And let's put together some of our pieces here. We can start with the feet. So the feet themselves are one of the layers. So you're just going to put these paper pieces together, making a mess with the glue already. There's one. We're going to do the other one. And then your snow. And the feet, you just want to just kind of place them just like that, okay? So you just need a little bit of glue here at the bottom. So this is your frontmost layer. This is the back layer, this one here that I'm pulling in. You want to start by putting your snow down. So you don't want too much glue, but you want enough glue that your snowflake is not going to be peeling off. Just line that up the best you can. now we can set that out of the way. Let's pull our candy cane in here and get this done. You want to make sure not to put too much glue because you don't want it oozing out all over the place. And now the hands, they're 2 pieces too, because sloths have these wild, crazy nails. Claws, really. They have claws. I'm just going to kind of put the glue there on the tips. Okay, so the candy cane is done. Now let's pull him in. I've got all kinds of pieces going crazy, so we can probably easiest just to start putting some of the pieces together that you know go together. So I'm going to start with a hat. And then the eyes, I did like the area around the eyes in a very dark brown. And I don't know if you can tell that these are 2 different colors, but there is a matching piece that goes behind for the black. And then the eyes fit. You just have to kind of find where they fit. They are cut to be the exact curve right there, so you know where they go. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on. And again, you're just looking for that curve. There's a little indent there, and it's kind of like right at that indent is where it starts and then goes. This doesn't seem right. So I'm going to peel this off. I'll probably have to put it on the other side. I don't know what happened. Let's see. Maybe the eyes are supposed to be lower. I need to pull up a picture so I can look at it. Yeah, I think these are supposed to be lower. I'm going to pull up my picture here if you give me just a moment. Make sure I'm doing this. Okay. have had it in the right place. Let me see. Oh, maybe not. All right. So it does go just a little bit lower than where I had it. There's not much space between the eyes, but there is a small space there. Darn it. There we go. And then his nose kind of starts just right over the tip of it. And what happened to the other piece right there? There we go. And then you just want to you just want a little bit of this dark color, because you don't want to put it all the way to the bottom. You could put it all the way to the bottom, but I'm going to leave just a little bit. So just kind of eyeball that to where you like it. And go ahead and glue this in place. I think I like it about right there. And then you just want to, I need to get out some ink because all these colors are the same. When I looked up the Sloth, he didn't have very many different colors. So I want to just ink the edges a little bit. So that it'll stand out. I was hoping I had a black one. I'm sorry, I should have had that ready. So I just want to lightly touch the edges just to give it enough contrast that you can see that there's something there. I might just do it around the edge of his head too. A lot of his head is going to be covered by the Santa hat, so you don't have to worry about a lot of that. Now you can see that this makes this piece stand out. Okay, so what you want to do is just kind of put that there so you know, and decide. The other thing you want to decide is if you want your snow in front or behind. I think I'm going to put mine behind. Either way is good. Oh, and I'm going to mention that this piece here that I'm working with, I have already glued together. There are 2 pieces here. I cut this out first and then I glue it and let it dry while I'm cutting the rest of my pieces so that it gets good and dry by the time I'm ready to start working with it. And I dry it under my mat. And now we're going to put his head on. His scarf matches up to the curve of his head, and that's why it doesn't need to go on first. I will caution you to be careful of any foam tape that you use on these pop-up cards. And because the base is 2 inches tall and you want to start from the bottom of this snow cap up, you really don't want to put foam tape in this 2-inch space, because that needs to be able to, the way the card closes, it needs to be able to go inside the card and not affect the closure of it. If you add too much bulk, your card won't close properly. And I'm not going to glue all this down because scarves usually are flapping around. So I just put some glue there at the top. And now put his hat in place. And even with my little mix up with his eyes, I think he turned out pretty cute. So there's our sloth. That's his feet, so that goes there. And his hands you're going to glue to him, right like that. He's kind of cute. Okay. Now, even with what I said about being careful, not even, but so I'm gonna put my foam dots on his hand. So these are up higher because of how I placed them. I just want to add just a little bit of dimension for this. So it just like so. Okay, now we're going to pull in our base. And I'm a very visual person, so I like to look at it just to make sure I'm putting everything together properly. So your sloth goes in the slot that's cut right where the fold is at, and then his feet go here. So this is where everything goes, and look, I put this foam tape over too far and it is hanging over. So I'm gonna get a scrap piece of paper here. Just took this out of my trash because I don't want that sticking to anything. the card. You know, like gluing it. I'm just going to kind of tuck this in there. Whoopsie. And cover up my mistake. There we go. Now I don't have to worry about that foam tape there sticking. And you can't see it from the front. So I'm going to start with this one that's on the back. And so a couple of things to watch for when you're doing these cards. One is you want to make sure your piece that you're inserting does not go over these edges here. So if they do, if you know, the machine cut it wrong or you accidentally resized it, just take your scissors and trim that over. Up here, this doesn't matter because that's above this 1/4 inch. And so that's above your card. But right here, you don't want this wider than where it goes in. And then you're going to slide this through the bottom one. So your bottom flap goes all the way down flat. And your top one goes down. And you're going to flip this over. And you just want to turn your tab up here, and then we're going to glue this right in place. have just been making a mess with glue today. I apologize, but that's the bottom, so it doesn't really matter. So now you see, if I push this up, just the piece goes up. This flap's not going up with it. And right now, that's just how that works. So now we're going to go, we're doing the feet first. We're going to slide that in. And again, just double check to make sure your piece isn't going over the edge. And then slide it, oops, slide it into the bottom. Make sure the pieces are laid down flat, and then flip it over. Turn your tab up and then glue it in place. See if I can't be a little bit neater with this glue. There we go. Okay. So now that's in place. Now, and again, if you were to push this up, this goes up without raising the top. So how that is solved is with your center. And the Sloth is our center. And he goes in. And he glues differently. So you want to turn this flap up. Now this is the flap that's on this piece here, right? And we're going to put glue underneath it, just on the tab of the Sloth. And we're going to glue this in place. And then on the bottom, we're going to do the same thing. Just put a thin line of glue, turn this tab up, and you're only gluing it to the tab of the Sloth. I'll show you after it dries. But now, when I take my finger and push this up, because this is glued to the center piece, it's lifting the top and the bottom of the card. So then to get the back half of it operating, we're going to put glue just on the red tabs. That might be too much. You don't want so much that it starts oozing out and gluing things together that it shouldn't be gluing. If you do not glue these tabs together face to face, or you don't glue your tabs to your center piece, your card will not operate correctly. So now you're just going to bring this over and we're going to match these up. And you have a little bit of bulk in here, so you're going to have to take a few extra seconds. If you're using a quick dry glue, it's seconds. And just make sure that this is sticking. And so then I'm going to show you inside. And we've got our tabs glued together from the front and the back. And then our pieces are all glued to the bottom. They're glued to the bottom. And you can see that that pushes our card up and down. And I have my candy cane in a bad spot. He's choking up my works here. I have to move that over, hopefully. I didn't know that that was going to get in the way. Try to peel it off the top since I have my little there we go. So now that's not interfering. Okay. So then you're gonna, to close it up, you're just gonna fold your tab over. So since that could be a potential problem, you may want to put your candy cane on when you're closed, so you can see how far over you can go. I had mine over too far. It was bumping here on the edge. But now you can see there is our card, and that's our Sloth pop-up. Thank you for joining me.